Good evening, everyone. I will now call this chamber to order. Will everyone please rise if you can and pledge allegiance to our flag and our nation, and remain in your position for a moment of personal reflection. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Township Clerk, will you please call roll and then read our statement of adequate notice?
Councilman Bahal?
Here.
Councilman Wendell?
Here.
Councilwoman Winston?
Here.
Councilwoman Zembicki?
Here.
And Council President McAvoy?
Here.
Also present, Mayor Brian Cohen?
Here.
Administrator Joseph Quisquillo?
Here.
And Township Attorney Anthony Iacoca.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231, Public Law, 1975, by specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda, by posting a copy on the bulletin board located in the main lobby of the East Brunswick Municipal Building, providing a copy to the Home News Tribune and the Asbury Park Press newspapers, posting a copy on the Township's website, and by filing a copy in the office of the Township Clerk, which will be entered into the minutes.
Council, you have before you Resolution 25-127, adopting the meeting minutes from our February 24th, 2025 meeting. Is there any cause for correction or clarification on these minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zembicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. We have a proclamation. We have a proclamation recognizing the 40th annual Norma and Ralph Lamo Daisy Breakfast. Councilwoman Winston, will you tend to this matter, please?
Thank you, Council President.
Whichever you feel comfortable.
Thank you. Thank you for being here this evening. Since its creation 50 years ago, Daisy has consistently been one of the shining diamonds of East Brunswick. Through the decades, your organization has served our disabled community with vigor, consistency, advocacy, and deep appreciation for their challenges and abilities. The Township and residents are immensely grateful for all the work you've done and continue to do. We are happy to celebrate this amazing 50-year milestone with you, and we look forward to seeing you on Sunday. John Kosick, Nicole Golden, Pat Callahan, Caitlin Kehoe, and Mindy Lissa, we thank you. Whereas the Daisy Association, a dedicated nonprofit, parent-run civic organization, has tirelessly supported children and adults with various disabilities in East Brunswick and its surrounding communities for over 50 years. And whereas the Daisy Association's vision and mission is grounded in the belief that we are all differently abled, continues to provide recreational, social, and camp opportunities for individuals of all abilities, fostering a community that thrives on fun, teamwork, and inclusion. Whereas the association works closely with the East Brunswick Recreation Department, striving to make a lasting impact by offering year-round programs that promote non-judgmental spaces where everyone can participate and contribute, enriching the lives of all its members. And whereas, through the continuous generosity of supporters and volunteers, the Daisy Association has been able to fund a multitude of programs, trips, parties, and special events that bring joy, unity, and meaningful experience to those it serves. And whereas East Brunswick business community, emergency services, law offices, funeral homes, and private donors provide the funding for all the expenses to hold the breakfast, allowing those that purchase a ticket to have 100% of their donation to go directly to the activities for the participants to benefit. And whereas we gather to honor and celebrate the 40th anniversary of the Norma and Ralph Lamo Daisy Breakfast, an event that exemplifies the association's unwavering dedication to its mission and to the betterment of the lives of the individuals with disabilities. With 700 to 800 people attending, the event is made possible through donations from the community. 100% of the profits go directly to the association, which help to support the township's exclusive adaptive recreation programs. Over the last 40 years, the annual Daisy Breakfast has raised about $700,000. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Brad Cohen, Mayor of the Township of East Brunswick, the Township Council, recognize and congratulate the Daisy Association for its ongoing commitment in making the world a better place for individuals with disabilities in East Brunswick. Would you like to come up and get that?
This is really nice. I want to thank everybody for this. We've worked really hard. I want to thank John Kosick. He's an amazing man. He works tirelessly for us. He is very thoughtful. He's very selfless, and everything he does for the kids. And it's really quite impressive. I, of course, have to thank the Lamo family. When I first met Ralph, he was very intimidating, and he came in with a whisk of men's cologne, and I just found him totally intimidating. And then I got to know him, and he was a teddy bear. And he told me that he wanted to do something special for our special needs community. And that's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing to say that, and then 40 years later, we're still having a breakfast. I didn't realize the amount of money. I never added it up in my head. It's quite extraordinary. We've done so much with it. As Dana said, we did a lot of, we do extra events, we do a lot of things for the kids, we do programming. We also have scholarships for kids in needs. So it's we really accomplish a lot with the money that we raise, and we really appreciate the community for coming out. We thank the town council, mayor. I've been the president for 22 years. I have never seen a township so behind us. We have the rec people. I've just never seen people who care so much about our kids. And it's been a pleasure always to work with them. I've never had a problem with any type of funding. Everything has been really wonderful, and I really appreciate it. So on behalf of the Daisy Association, thank you all so much. And wait, come on Sunday for our 40th breakfast. Can't wait to see you. Thank you very much.
I'm going to do an angle. The public dilemma. Pat, why don't you come up here real quick? And bring the, so here's the generation, right? Ralph Lamo, 40 years ago, this all started. Pat is Ralph's daughter, and then we have the granddaughter, and now we have the great-grandsons. So we're going to have the breakfast continue. I would expect at the 50th, the grandsons, great-grandsons will be here making these speeches. So they're ready to roll, no doubt about it. I want to personally thank the governing body, because 40 years ago and up until maybe 15 years ago, we had to get your permission. You had to permit us to have the breakfast. And all the governing bodies have, the mayors have supported it. So without you, the breakfast never would have moved forward. It was when Ralph came along and decided he wanted to do this, we needed permission from the town to do it, and the town gave permission. So think about 40 years ago what you had to do certain things. It's not like now. There was a bit of a disengagement for the special needs back then, and we were able to make it unite by the breakfast, would turn into a community event, thanks to Caitlin and Nicole and the volunteers that we have. Without those volunteers, there would be no breakfast. So I want to thank the governing body. I want to thank the Lamos. Thank your father and your mother for having that vision. And keep it going. You're going to keep it going? Oh, now you're getting quiet, right? Good. So thank you very much. I'd like to get everyone to stay up here for a team photo.
Take a picture, Nicole, Caitlin. Last minute. Come on, I'll do my photo if you want. Are they all right? Hello. You're being a little big on you. Okay.
Maybe you should sit next to your wife. I'll go on this side. I'll book it. I'll book it. Yeah, I'll book it, all right? I love these. Okay. Are we good? Guys, move in like you like each other. Come on. How's that? Excellent. Thanks, folks. Thanks, John.
That was fun and rewarding, very much so. I mean, we all have our memories, right? Oh, my God, solid, right?
Absolutely.
40 years, when you think about, things that are running through your head right now with regard to 40 years. Wow. And Ralph, it's making me smile, making me laugh. He tried to pull the hard guy card on me, and it just didn't work. But we embraced and said hello, and he's a good man. Council, we have 5 ordinances for a second reading and a public hearing. Township Clerk, will you please read ordinance 2505?
An ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, repealing Chapter 135, Article 2, circuses, carnivals, and similar exhibitions, and replacing same with new Article 2 entitled Special Events.
Second? I'll now open this matter to the public. Is there anyone wishing to address the council president with regard to this issue? Seeing none, close the public portion. Council, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall? Yes. Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. Township Clerk, will you please read ordinance 25-06?
A bond ordinance providing for various school capital improvements in and by the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, pursuant to a shared services agreement with the East Brunswick Board of Education, appropriating $11,515,789, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $10,940,000 in bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof.
Motion to table.
Second.
Not to move.
Motion to table.
Motion to table? You want to tell us why?
Well, do you want to call the vote, or should I discuss it? First of all, okay.
No, discuss, then we'll
okay.
vote on it.
First of all, the $11,515,000 that they're looking for, and the $10,940,000 in bonds does not match the information given to us this past week, and as such, I don't believe that this should be on for second reading if there's a almost $700,000 change in the amount that they're looking to finance.
The data that I gave you, Councilman, deals with just the capital improvement part. There's nothing.
Well, the whole thing is just capital improvements.
Right, but the second and the third and the fourth, let's say, called in paragraphs that you're looking at, that plays no role whatsoever in the dollar and cent sign.
The list that we got of
That I-
the capital
that I delivered,
improvements
the one that I got
is
from the-
$9,625,856. What they're looking to bond for is $10,940,000. That, in my mind, is material enough that this should be written into a different ordinance.
You want to clarify that, Mr. Criscuolo, or can you not with regard to?
I wouldn't want, I don't, Mr. Criscuolo is not the one to clarify that. It would be Mr. Iacocca.
Well, let's hold off. I would like to hear from our business administrator with regard to this statement. 'Cause I was under the assumption.
From what I was told, the breakdown description was for the purpose for item A, capital improvements.
Right, that's what I'm
And
trying to
those
say, item A.
numbers match. That's what I was told.
Well, I asked for an explanation on all of the monies that were being requested.
Right.
To only get a portion of them,
But the B, C, the B, C, and D, it's explained right there on the.
and not actually.
Mr. Iacocca, you want to comment? Because if we table this, then what happens to the document or the ordinance?
Well, the first question is with regard to the Schedule A.
Right.
The Schedule A, Item 1, for 9.6 million plus, is for roof replacement, field turfs, PA systems, and so forth. My understanding is that you received the backup documentation
Yes.
from the superintendent,
Yes.
which was shared to support the $9 million plus. The other items, Item B, $900,000, that's for 54 passenger school buses and a camera system and upgrades. That's for $900,000. Based from what I'm hearing from Mr. Criscuolo and yourself is that that is self-explanatory
Right.
in that line item. The next line item is for athletic and security site vehicles, scoreboard replacement. That is for $78,941, which from what I understand is that's self-explanatory.
I don't think that's self-explanatory at all.
From what I hear for the council president and Mr. Criscuolo, it
And
is.
this is what the superintendent gave me.
I understand that, but I don't think,
And let me finish.
first of all, I requested that they be here to answer questions, and nobody from the school board or the Board of Education decided to make this important enough in their mind to be here.
Well, the superintendent is addressing his father's funeral.
Okay, so where's Mr. Giuliana?
I don't think he has to show up here. He has decided not.
He's looking for us to loan him money,
Right.
and we have questions.
And I just gave you the answers.
Giving us a paper on Friday afternoon.
No, Councilman, this was done as soon as the council meeting was over last week, 2 weeks ago, then I went to the superintendent's
Okay,
office.
so when did we get this memo or this?
I got this
breakdown?
back on the middle part of the week and delivered it to everyone, including yourself. We talked about
I got it on Friday in my packet. I didn't get it before that.
Yeah, but you picked up your packet this evening.
No, I picked up my packet on Friday.
Okay. And why was your packet here, but you weren't even here?
This isn't my packet, this is the budget.
Okay. Again, the numbers here jive. So if you
Actually,
want-
they don't.
I'm just going
If
with
you
what's going to
actually look-
happen.
If
this
you
gets
actually
ta-
look, Council President, there are backstop fencing removal for $26,650 at Bal Monroe and Memorial, recorded twice in this.
Okay. Again, this is what he gave us.
Understood, but what? We don't have the right to question it?
I didn't say you couldn't question. You want to table it right away, and if we table it,
Yeah, I
then
do.
what happens?
Yeah, I do, because I don't think this is,
Mr.
I mean,
Criscuolo, what
first of all,
happens if we table it?
$3.1 million,
That's for Mr. Iacocca.
Okay.
The council approved the shared service agreement in early February between the Board of Ed for capital improvements and financing.
Right.
The shared service agreement provides that the township will provide a bond ordinance in the amount stated in this ordinance.
yeah, that was before we knew that they were going to be laying off more teachers this year, and,
Well, there can always be something that comes up.
they're more than $4 million over budget this year.
Council President,
Go ahead.
if I may, this is a contract matter, which I would recommend that we go into executive session because there's a lot of legal questions
Okay.
that I think the council have, so I
I'll
would
make the motion to go into executive session.
I second it. Roll call, please, on executive session.
Well, wait, there's a motion to table on the floor.
Okay. Did you get a second?
Yes.
Okay. Roll call, please, on the table.
Councilman Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicky?
No.
And Council President McAvoy?
No. So now what happens, Mr. Iacono?
It's tabled.
Period.
So we
Move
don't
on.
really need an executive session then?
We don't need the executive session.
You can have one if you'd like, but it's up to the council.
Right.
But it's tabled.
Don't see the need.
Council President, I only voted yes because I thought we were going in executive session.
From where did
That was
you,
my
you didn't
understanding.
ask me about that, so I'd be the one who would tell you about that. It's Mr. Wendell who brought that up, so did you give him a call? I guess, that's my response to that. Council, we have 5 ordinances, so we're down to 25-07. Ms. Lawful, will you kindly read?
A capital ordinance appropriating $850,000 from the Sewer Utility Capital Improvement Fund to provide for various sewer utility improvements in and by the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey.
Get a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Is there anyone from the public wishing to talk on this matter and this matter only? Seeing none, we'll move on. Roll call, please.
Councilman Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicky?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. Township Clerk, will you please read ordinance 2508?
A capital ordinance appropriating $2,125,000 from the Water Utility Capital Improvement Fund to provide for various water utility improvements in and by the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey.
Motion approved.
And a second?
Second.
I'll now open this matter to the public. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this issue? Seeing none, we'll close it. Roll call, please.
Councilman Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicky?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. That was 2508 or 2507?
Oh, wait.
It was 08. And then, Ms. Lawful, would you kindly read ordinance 2509?
An ordinance amending the 2025 fee schedule for the Department of Recreation, Parks, and Community Services.
May I have a motion
Motion approved.
and a second?
Second.
Now open this matter to the public. Is anyone wishing to speak on this matter? Close the public portion. And roll call, please.
Councilman Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicky?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. I'll now move on to our reports section of the meeting. Mayor Cohen?
I'm going to put off any comments now since I'll be introducing the budget, so I'll have enough to say with that.
Mr. Crisculo, our business administrator?
Just everybody come out to breakfast Sunday. I look forward to seeing everybody and supporting a great cause.
Our township attorney, Mr. Iacono?
Nothing to report at this
Our
time.
township clerk, Ms. Lawful?
Nothing to report.
Committee or board reports from council?
Quick report for Recs and Parks. The New Jersey Rec and Park Association awarded East Brunswick with the Agency Showcase Award for website or application design. Nicole Golden, John Roche, and Mike Reisner were honored at this event for outstanding achievement and commitment to leverage technology to improve the community engagement. And with that being said, the app is up and functioning as of, well, it's been up, but opening for spring and summer registration as of March 3rd. So please take a look for camp, spring activities, and Crystal Springs registration.
Thank you, Councilwoman Zambicki. I'll now open the meeting to the public. Ms. Lawful, will you please read our public comment statement?
The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. In accordance with NJSA 10:4-12A and the East Brunswick Rules of Council, the council asks the public to limit their comments to 5 minutes or less. At the conclusion of the statements or questions from a member of the public, the council president, at his discretion, may choose to respond or not respond.
Anyone from the public wishing to address council?
Good evening, Council President. Good evening, Council Mayor, and others. My name is Jeff Winston, Fresh Ponds Road, East Brunswick. I saw distress on so many faces in that last vote. I've spoken to every one of you at different occasions for different reasons. And a common theme, which of course is true, is that the township and the district live separately, in separate silos. And they do, except for one commonality between the two. It always addresses the citizens of East Brunswick. Mr. Wendell pointed something out, but unfortunately, your number was a little off. The school district right now, Mr. Giuliani has stated that the shortfall is actually $7.724 million. You're only off by $3 million.
Mr. Winston, direct your comments to me, not to Mr. Wendell. Thank you.
I certainly will. Sorry. Thank you very much. And again, it's apparent that this council president has upset many, that for some reason, not sure why. The offsets that were offered at the last budget meeting were about $8.4 million. Now, in that offset, as we talk about the residents of East Brunswick, here are the things that the group that you want to lend the money to want to get rid of that affects the citizens of East Brunswick. First, for what's normally a $50 and $55 fee for an activity will now cost about $135 per student to be in an activity. 2 kids in the district, that's $270. 2 activities a year, $540. If I did that right, 27, yep, $540. Ernie Learning Academy will get its second rate increase if they happen to have a young kid. You could add that on. That'll be more. There'll be no 4th grade music anymore, so they'll be out there getting lessons. I checked tonight, average fee for that, about $50 for every 30 minutes for 4th graders, of which 75% roughly of our district participates in. What this is a way to backdoor tax. So a nice family who has their kids in musical instrument programs, along with all of these other activities, will now have an additional approximately $800 to $1,000 added to their lives. What we're talking about with this money, this $10 million, they may need it. At this point, if it doesn't affect children's safety, anything that could impact children's safety should absolutely be approved. I don't think anybody ever got hurt by a backstop. When I hear that they're going to be replacing an entire roof, I didn't hear any bids for repairs. There's never been anything brought through the Board of Education, that other silo, that would justify this at this time. Tabling it makes sense. I don't say it shouldn't come back, but this is the taxpayers we're talking about. Specifically, I'm only talking about the kids right now. The families. This is a different way to tax, and while the mayor may deliver a budget tonight that shows a flat tax, it's being backdoored and affecting family by the line item cuts, and until their house is in order, I find it very hard to believe that 3 council people would ever do that and give them this money. When you can't pay your heating bill, you don't put a swimming pool in your backyard. You get your ducks in a row before you start begging for more. This district has shown a propensity for strangely managing cash, having projects approved that are never completed. And that's bothersome. And if it doesn't bother you, I don't think you're speaking for the people. The people aren't against this loan, the people I've spoken to. They're against this loan now. Get more information. Make the information be known. The fact that the list of items that are under this number are not made public is a disgrace to transparency. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Anyone else wishing to address Council President? Please.
Oh, I'm very short. Okay. Good evening, Helen Ayub, Vincent Court. If it pleases the council, I would like to bring to your notice Assembly Bill number A3123. requires public and non-public schools, excuse me, with lunch programs to provide free lunch to increasing number of income-eligible students, and after 5-year phase-in to provide free lunch to all students regardless of income or federal eligibility. The main sponsor is Assemblyman Coolgan, and I am proud to say that our own District 18's Assemblyman, Mr. Stanley, is also a sponsor on this bill. But I'm sure you know that legislation like this takes an increasing amount of time to see its effects. And after all, Tip O'Neill does tell us that all politics is local. At the high school level, there are 2,129 total students, 523 of which qualify for free and reduced lunch. This is only 24.6%, and surely this does not address all of the students in need of this welfare, as the threshold is a very low standard. And considering the cost of the quality of life in East Brunswick, most families struggle to stay afloat while the government does not recognize their need. After consulting Mr. Joseph Crotchfeld, the Board of Education's Director of Finances, he told me that this issue resided within federal funding and state grants. I understand that this is bigger than East Brunswick, and I understand that there is little that you can do about it. But at the local level is where action is invoked. In East Brunswick, busing for students to and from school is without cost. The funding for busing is the most comparable to that of the lunch program. But why is it that students have a fee for food, but not for transportation, when nutrition is of a far greater importance? Today, the Board of Education is requesting $11.5 million on capital improvements under Ordinance Number 25-06. On an annual basis, the school board does not usually ask for more than $4 to $6 million. So if the money is available, we have to allocate it to a greater utility. Surely we appreciate the attempt of transparency, but I want to ask you one question. What is most important to you? New turf, a new PA system, new roofing, or the health and happiness of our students? Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address Council President? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion.
Council President, may I?
Please.
Thank you. So I understand the deep passion that's occurring right now with the school budget. When the motion to table was brought up and then a motion for executive order, I feel that it would have been appropriate for us to go into executive order, because here's why. We, unlike the board, we don't have closed sessions. So we never, as a group of 5, have the opportunity to sit and discuss some of the things that maybe has come to light, some information from our attorney. We never have the opportunity to do that. And with this motion to table, I think we should have said no for the moment, or held it in abeyance, and then went into executive committee so we could discuss the issues. And believe me, I agree in so many ways with many of you, and some of our speakers were speakers today. But the one thing that is true is that the general fund budget and the capital budget are 2 separate budgets. They do not intercross with each other. So the issue that's going on with cutting programs and, cutting staff, that has nothing to do with this capital budget, and that has everything to do with the board and now being insightful of this. So, and that's why I want to go into closed session, because I have a little different take on this, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but it would have been good to have the discussion. But it's my understanding that the items that were on the list that was provided by President McAvoy are items that have not gone out to bid, true, but would be going out to bid for an RFP. I don't know, but I had questions. And the issue being, we can't discuss those in an executive session. I'm sorry. I get easily distracted, sorry. I'm terrible at that, despite, yeah. But I just wanted to make that clear, right? That I think that, I'm disappointed that we didn't have the chance to go into executive session to discuss some of the questions and concerns that we have
The only thing I can say to that is
Yeah.
I can set up a meeting between the mayor and myself, and we can iron that out so that if there is a desire to go into executive session, not in the spontaneity of an evening, I'm not making that decision whatsoever. So with regard to this new item of being tabled and the executive session being canceled as well, I'll have to just meet with the mayor and see which direction we're going to go in. And then maybe at the next meeting, we can work this out. I don't have an answer for you.
Okay, that's fine. And who's to say? We might have still voted to table. I don't know. But the point being, a conversation would have been healthy at this point before. And I kind of thought we were going to do a little bit of that before the motion to table. So understand where my point was coming from. Before it was motion to table, I thought there was going to be some conversation. I had some things written down myself. I thought there would be a conversation with that ordinance before that happened. So that's why it kind of ended the conversation. That's where I'm getting at.
Council, we have Resolution 25-128 before us, authorizing the introduction of the municipal budget for 2025. May I have a motion?
Motion to adopt.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes, and Mayor Cohen, would you like to just share a few words about the introduction?
Certainly. Thank you, Council President. This is always an opportunity for us to be transparent with the public about the things that we're doing regarding the municipal budget. As most of you know, that is approximately 20% of your total tax bill. That is our responsibility. About 65 is the schools, 15% is the county, and then a little bit of the small amounts that are left over, library, open space fund, fire districts. But the primary three are schools, town, county. So of the portion of the tax bill that you get that we'll be talking about tonight, that is the 20% that we as a council are responsible for running all of the municipal budget on. For the year 2025, the average property assessment comes out to about $122,000. Our equalization rate, as you know, is about 18.83%. If you look at your tax bill, you'll see your assessed value, you know darn well is not the value of your house. It's approximately 18.83%. That is the reason that this township has been targeted by the state for a revaluation, because they're supposed to be at 100%. So while the state will take its, while we're looking to have somebody come in and do that for us, that process may take a while still, but our equalization rate of 18.83% brings your average home value to $648,000. The tax increase that we're proposing for this year amounts to less than 1%. That is consistent with what we've done for the last 8 years. It has averaged under 1%. It is still under 1%. That amounts to $26.90 for the average home, or $2.24 per month for somebody who owns a home at the average. The largest cost increases for the year 2025 over the year 2024 come in two primary areas. Solid waste and recycling. As you know, the township went out for a brand new contract last year. It goes up approximately $1 million each year of the 5-year contract. So $1 million alone is solid waste and recycling. The parking utility, as many of you know, during the COVID period of time, actually prior to COVID, there were 3-year waiting lists for our parking decks. With COVID, that changed dramatically as more people work from home. There people weren't working at all during COVID, and it has not moved back to the pre-COVID levels. So it is costing money to maintain the parking utility. Now, as many of you know, we signed at this last council meeting, a new contract with Coach. Coach had announced that it was in bankruptcy proceeding, but we were able to make a new contract with the successor corporation. And so I expect that the decrease that we're seeing this year should be made up by increased revenues coming in from the new contract that we have with Coach. Highlights of this budget for 2025, we have pretty much stable staffing levels other than in the police department. We're adding one full-time and one part-time person. The full-time person will be supervising and training our dispatchers. That is a public-facing entity that I believe should be at the highest level of training possible. There's mistakes you don't want to occur at that level, and the supervision, I think, would be an important added feature here. The part-time person is going to be working in evidence collection as one of our officers retires. They'll be supervised by an officer, but that will allow us to put an additional officer out on the road where they're needed. We also have room for additional hires in Park and Recreation as our ice rinks near opening. There's an RFP on the agenda for this evening. One of the things that's asking for is for you to consider putting out an RFP. We have organizations that are interested in coming in and providing a head start to all of our ice programs instead of us doing it ourselves, and that would be a contract that would take up a good portion of the ice and provide us with a steady source of income, making the ice rinks likely to be either break even or profitable almost from its inception. But whether or not we do that will make a big difference in the number of people that are ultimately hired for the rink. If we bring in a company, then we won't need as many people. And since the rinks aren't going to open towards the end of the year, the likelihood of this affecting the 2025 budget is pretty minimal. It's more likely to affect 2026. There are no changes, in fact, some increases in the services from our Parks, Recreation, Senior Center, Planning and Engineering, and our police. As I mentioned, our debt ratio remains extraordinarily low, even including the Board of Education and Fire District debt, which must be reported in the debt that you see on the pages in front of you. It gets separated out when we go to Moody's, and that is one of the reasons why we continue to maintain such a low debt ratio. The reason why the schools would want to even come to us for their financing needs is predicated on the fact that we could save the district in total significant amounts of money, tens of thousands of dollars in interest charges, if they otherwise went out themselves to do that. I'm not going to sit here and negotiate or discuss the uses of their money. The mere fact that they use us saves the district significant, and the town, the taxpayers, significant amount of money. Revenue, well, obviously the largest amount of revenue coming into the township is from property taxes, but after that, the two largest sources of income come from energy tax credits. As many of you know, that's money, tax money that comes from the use of our utilities, utility services, PSE&G, all the other utilities, the telephone companies, using property that should be paying taxes. Over 40 years ago, the state took over collecting that money, and despite the fact that all of your taxes went up and that tax revenue should come up to us, the state has kept that flat for almost 40 years. So they keep the amount equal. We will be getting approximately $4 million in energy tax credits. That has not changed appreciably in decades. Unfair, not an argument for us to have here. The other large source of money comes from our host community benefits that we get by allowing the county to use the landfill, which brings us about $3 million a year. The biggest expenses, obviously, we are like the schools, we are a people business, so it comes from our employees and personnel. This includes salaries, most of which is contractual, so we know what those costs are going to be. Our health care costs, clearly, as many of you know, we self-insure. Over the last 8 years, we've been able to keep healthcare costs at somewhere between a 2 to 3% increase per year over the last 8 years, almost unheard of in the industry. If you're in the state health benefits plan, they've been going up the last couple of years at double-digit increases per year. And of course, we have pension costs. As opposed to other entities, the pension costs for the township come out of property taxes. We must pay that. There's two major ones, the ones that go to police and fire, and then everyone else. Those are not the state-run pension plans. Those are supported by the township, and we've always made our payments. They are not underfunded, and they are solvent. Almost $4 million this year is set aside for road repairs. That does not include the DOT work on Route 18, does not include the county road work, and it does not include about $400,000 in grants that was given to do Village Drive. Any cost to Village Drive in excess of the $400,000 will come from the $4 million that's set aside for road repairs. We have 5 utilities. The water, sewer, and police are all utilities that are doing well and are profitable. Pool showed a minor loss last year. Keep in mind that large drivers of that is weather. If it's open more, we can make more, and that's really weather dependent. We also have to deal with the cost that minimum wage keeps going up every year. It's been hard, despite all of that, to even find enough staffing, which then limits the number of hours you could be open, which limits the amount of money you could make. So all of these things are interrelated. Chemical costs are up, maintaining the equipment and the system itself, and the debt all caused us to have a minor loss. We expect, hopefully with good weather and a more robust number of people working, that we could actually turn a profit this year. The big issue, as I spoke early about, is the parking deck. And again, we were able to buoy that the last couple of years with COVID money, but that's no longer there. So we are hoping that with the coach contract coming through, that we'll be able to be in a much better position on that utility as well. So at this point, the budget is now the council's budget. It is open for your review and for public review. I want to thank our finance staff for working together, again, as always, to put together a fiscally responsible budget. Our administration, of course, all of our directors who are like hawks, making sure that we treat public money no different than if it was their own. And at the end of the day, striking a balance where we have a wealth of services that are provided to the town in a way that's fiscally responsible and controls costs. With a budget of less than 1% increase, I think that this does that. So thank you, Council President.
Mayor? Move on to our consent agenda. And could I get the consent agenda statement read to the public?
Resolution 25-129 through Resolution 25-135. The following items are considered routine and non-controversial items by the Township Council and will be enacted upon by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda to be discussed and voted on, following the approval of the remaining items listed on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Council. You need any separation?
Motion to approve 25-129 through 25-136.
Second?
Second.
I have a question.
Okay, question is
I
fine.
don't know that I need to separate it, but just a question. Is that okay? So for Resolution 25-135, I was just wondering, this is for the ice skating rink for the programming partner services.
Right.
Is our hockey team, the school's still going to have the priority? Because I know you mentioned that this would be bringing in a company that would already have people that want and use ice time.
That's an excellent question, and I know that's something that's key importance, especially to the people that are on the hockey team that are paying $2,500 a year to be on that team. The way that that contract would work is that the town would get first priority in the use of ice time, whether that be for our hockey team, which is going to be probably the first priority, open skating, public use of the facility. If we're going to run learn to skate programs, whatever the town wants to do would be a first priority. They would have to work around that.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimnicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. And council, we have one ordinance for introduction with a public hearing set for March 24th. Township Clerk, will you please read 2510?
An ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 3, Article 18, fees for services and copies of documents to update the fee schedule for police services.
We may have a motion
Motion adopted.
and a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimnicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. For the good of the cause. Quiet evening. There's nothing here either. Motion to adjourn. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Good night.